Starting off the night with pre-dinner drinks and classic elegance here at the Blau Bar in the Sacher Hotel, before heading into complete modernity. Tonight I'm dining at Steirereck, a restaurant that has long been at the forefront of Austrian fine dining. Nestled in Vienna's Stadtpark, this sleek glass-walled pavilion blends seamlessly into its surroundings, offering a modern, make-review setting for a truly unique dining experience. At the helm is Chef Heinz Reitbauer, one of Austria's most influential chefs. Growing up in a family of restaurateurs, he trained in some of Europe's finest kitchens before taking over Steirereck in 2005, transforming it into the globally recognized institution it is today. His cuisine celebrates Austria's rich culinary heritage, reinterpreting classic dishes with rare, locally sourced ingredients and modern techniques. The restaurant has held 2 Michelin stars since 2010. Earlier this year, it made history, earning its 3rd star, making it only one of 2 restaurants in Austria to hold this honor. So what makes Steirereck one of the world's most celebrated restaurants? Let's find out.
Wettläumer Cantalwell in Lower Austria, and it's got Lamine Bois. It's a Blanc de Blanc, main produce Chardonnay, with a bit of Pinot Gris and Pinot Blanc.
I hope you enjoy the sparkling wine.
I definitely do want to go for the longest format tasting menu offered. In terms of choices, I'm not good with choices.
Should we do a chef's choice?
A chef's choice. So there was a 6 or 7 course tasting menu, and for each course you actually get to choose between 2 different dishes. On top of that, there's also a full a la carte menu which includes some of their classics and signature dishes. I went with the 7 course tasting menu. Nothing available by the glass outside of wine pairings. It's all available by the bottle only. To be honest, the wine pairing's so reasonable at €130. I've got to try it. A very interesting bag table. Kind of looks like an IKEA project. Not very refined at all. The dining room, beautiful. So sleek, modern, very minimalist, very clean, slightly off-white linen tablecloths. At the end of my table, there's kind of a mini table, the mini serving station. Okay, so the way it works is, she said that for each course, they bring you a card. So we've gotten this card now for the first part of the menu. But you can pause to read through that. They also just brought over a magazine, which is interesting. I found that this is only the 2nd restaurant I've been to that has brought to me a solo diner reading material. The first being Keisha Franco. I never filmed when I was there. It's on the list to revisit at some point. Not a bad place to be sat, to be honest, for dinner. Hey, look at this bread trolley. Wow, that is quite the selection. Okay, so they just came by with a trolley with 25, that's right, 25 different varieties of bread. Unbelievable. First time going to a restaurant where they have a bread sommelier, I guess. So I went for the multi-grain multi-seed, the pretzel, and then I asked the sommelier for one of his favourites, which was
the dark rye malted from Vienna Oldest Bakery.
And then alongside it, butter and maybe pink Himalayan salt. That's without butter. The butter is beautifully milky, creamy, silky, so smooth. The pretzel with butter and salt, fluffy interior, chewy, crunchy exterior, and those large crystals of salt provide exactly what you'd expect from a pretzel. Great playlist selection as well. Murder on the Dance Floor came on. Go-to karaoke song right there. This is also the first restaurant I've been to where they bring out the bread first. I've been there around 25 minutes. I've had water, an aperitif, bread. So as the sun's beginning to set outside, this dining room is really coming alive. Also, the way the dining room curves, there's no corners or edges, and it kind of just snakes through, and there's this beautiful flow it creates.
We have some compliments from our kitchen. Sweet and sour carrot with sheep's fresh cheese and sparkling eucalyptus pulver on top, followed by a crispy Jerusalem ancho parted with medlar, catfish liver cream, sorrel and fresh horseradish. And to finish, we have a crispy chicken skin filled with so-called easy peasy, which is basically rice with peas, and on top we also have the peas with fresh pea tree.
So much crunchiness and freshness going on there. It all has this beautiful rustic look to it. It's a much more relaxed feeling of fine dining. This one as well, I love that the carrot was such a focus, the sweetness running through that. They were all amazing, but I love the texture of the pea and the rice one. That was beautiful. I've also kind of got to realign myself because I'm so used to the fast-paced American service, so then I come back to Europe and it's going to be a slow, relaxed, long-tasting menu. They're not dining tables here. They're not rushing me out.
We have a nice Rudega Matas Alta Viñas Viejas. The prepared is Macabeu and Iron. It's a very delicate white wine from the Village 22.
Also, just more over the second card. It goes into a lot of detail about each course and breaking down the ingredients, the techniques, and then it has some fun facts as well about, in this case, the Hirsch pear. So now, about 40 minutes after we've sat down, we now start our tasting menu.
Make that mealtime. The sauce with components of broccoli and Hirsch pear. This is what the Hirsch pear actually looks like. It's dried in salt and sugar.
Silverware is from Christoffel, classic French. So it's a lot of very thinly sliced layers rolled up into almost a rose. Firstly, the temperature of this dish completely caught me off guard. It's a mix of room temperature and slightly less than room temperature. Beautiful way to start. Still got that lingering fattiness on my tongue. Maybe some slight added acidity to couple all of that. But otherwise, beautiful. I've noticed at the bottom of each of these there's a different number. Yeah.
Chronological number from the beginning of the restaurant until now. That's how many different dishes we had in this house.
Muscatella, Gamlitzer 2016 from the Sapplerhof. Stay here in the Southern Styria. Nice mature style of Muscatella. Normally in Austria it's common to drink it very young.
It's not dry at all, but there's not much sweetness running through that. A lot of minerality. So we have fennel, bergamot.
Fennel braising sauce. It's a lovage oil.
Straight away, get that beautiful fennel, aniseed, licorice aroma coming off that. Just the fennel alone, it's like the vegetables you eat in a wonderful soup after it's been slow cooking and breaking down the fibres for hours and hours. All the sharpness from the rawness of it is completely dissipated and the sweetness is so concentrated. Then that puree on the side, creamy, it's smooth. The crunchiness coming through from those hemp seeds. Then you get that wonderful intense sweetness and slight chewy texture from those caramelized fig cubes. And again, the fennel flavors amplified by the fresh fennel running through that. And then the braising stock, which they poured over, such a deep, rich, intense flavor. Also, so far, all the plateware being used, very aesthetically pleasing. It's rustic. All of the plates are slightly somewhat uneven, almost perfect imperfections to them. The texture of the wall behind me, like that, and it's fabric on one side, wood on the other, so it has this beautiful effect it's giving off.
It's a field plant of Matassa, El Caner. It's a Grenache Gris and Macabeu in the Calch district.
Also, not sure when they keep asking me if I'm finished with wine. The glass is pretty full. Of course I'm not finished with it.
I'll give you a second one for that.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. Natural way and the classic way. Hochrhein in the house plant Sürzberger from Spitz. A nice mature cellar Riesling. Dry, slightly petty vitritis as well.
We continue with the stuffed egg with pointed cabbage and a pickled buttered cabbage sauce.
The aroma coming off that, all I'm getting is caramelized sugars. Where to start with that dish? There is so much going on. There's the eel. It's buttery, it's flaky, and disintegrates on your tongue. Perfect caramelization to it. And the accompanying cabbage has that smokiness, the char. Altogether, it's such a complex dish, yet so beautifully balanced. Even though this had a high acidity, I felt the Riesling paired better with the dish.
Yeah, because it's more chummier, intense flavors, more concentration. Go for Sauvignon Blanc. Hochkrasses by 2010. So in the Southern Styria, it's more a sommelier wine instead of a journalist wine.
Definitely being introduced to a lot of wines that I haven't had before and probably never would have tasted outside the sommelier recommendations, which I very much appreciate. The sommelier is so knowledgeable.
We have the black pearl oyster mushroom with pontarella and blood orange, with sauce, grapefruit, blood orange, mustard seeds, and lime. We have also pontarella puree.
So a puree of puntarella? Definitely not a puree I would have ever imagined to see, because puntarella is part of the chicory family, commonly used in a lot of Italian dishes. So to see a puree made out of it, not something I was expecting, not something on the cards at all. First impressions, very different to what I was expecting. When I saw on the menu oyster mushrooms, immediately you think the meatiness, the depth, the flavour, the texture. And then you get this, and it's vibrant and citrusy, and you get that starchiness from the chervil, the crunchiness from the puntarella, but you still get that meaty texture coming through from the oyster mushroom, and then that comes through. I loved it. Really, really loved it. Thank you.
It's called Lutzmannsburg, Guevigne, Lutz 2015. Comes from the producer, it's called Uwe Schiefer, Burgenland, Eisenberg district.
Another one.
It's Nuit Saint-Georges, 2013, Philippe Pacalet.
I had a big glass of wine after wine after wine. Now it's gotten to the stage where I haven't got one pairing going on, I've got two parallel pairings. And with every dish, I've been given 2 glasses of wine. It's so incredible. I'm so grateful to be able to experience this. But it's so insane to see what compares with what. Yeah, these can go. He's bringing me 2 glasses with every wine. I can't keep up anymore. Thank you.
We continue with the kid goat with rhubarb, wallaby tempura, and koilek, sauce of sorrel, the kid goat braising jus.
Firstly, there's the goat meat. Not a common used protein at all. It's not slow cooked, it's not kind of fall off, disintegrate, it has a slight chew to it. But then there's all the accoutrements with that. There's the crispiness from the wild garlic tempura, there's that earthiness and freshness from the pea puree, beautiful creaminess coming from that confit quail. There's the different purees, and then there's that rhubarb that comes along. Besides for that crispy texture, it cuts through the fattiness of that goat just perfectly. I know I've already said another dish was complex, but these dishes have so many different elements going on with every single one of them. There's nothing simple about anything I've eaten here tonight at all.
Willy Baresch and Luis Baresch are son and father, and this is their old way of sherry. No fortification. Natural alcohol, tried on the Spada grass in the roast, and then classic style old butts aging. I look in the salad because
Terrible. He's bringing me all wine.
Bajajuela, 17. Palma Cotado. Now we have the caviar and lentils, pistachio. We have the breath of the bacon, lettuce oil, dried white fish. You have your try.
A supplement course, caviar, lentils, banana and bacon. There's such a nuttiness and creaminess going on here. The creaminess and earthiness of that mushroom puree sitting underneath. Wow, it's like concentrated mushroom goodness. And the richness and umami coming from that sauce. And the banana I'm only really getting is that very mild sweetness in the background. There's a little bit of lardons as well. What a dish.
Honey wine. Made rose flower honeywurst base from Lower Austria. It's not a classic sweet wine.
Some different kind of honeys here. We have the Schumbrunner Pripitowicz, and I have some different kinds of honey cups. I have one first honey, then I have a river honey, and lastly, one Stetten honey. The river honey, here comes some Holland.
Who doesn't love a bit of theatre? He came with his beehive, the sounds of bees buzzing in the background, offering a different selection of honeys. And not only that, this whole dish is paired with a honey wine. So we have bitter orange, yuzu granita, bee pollen buttermilk ice cream. Look what a beautiful spoon.
Now you understand why we do a honey wine for it.
There's so much going on here as well.
Yes.
Textures, temperatures, flavours, the citrus, the sweetness. This wine pair, honestly, for Renee has been the most amazing sommelier.
We go for a Junmai Rosé, Amabuki, as a producer from Japan. For our low acidity, a lot of umami.
If I was to pick a profile, immediately I get on the nose, straight away it's lychee for me. But then on the palate, it's so much more floral. And it's finishing with a slight nuttiness.
Rhubarb, tiger nut. On the side we have an elderflower and sorrel ice cream, dried and frozen gooseberries, gooseberry and rhubarb sauce.
They've served the ice cream on a block of ice, pretty much means it maintains its perfect texture and consistency throughout. That short glass pastry, generally you would expect butteriness, a slight crunchiness. This has an intense nuttiness running through it. I did ask what tiger nut was, and he did say that in German, pretty much called an earth almond. It's not a nut, it's a plant. It does give this nuttiness and earthiness to it. The crunchy texture of the rhubarb, the acidity, very mild sweetness, and the ice cream brings this beautiful freshness. I know it's sorrel and elderflower, but the flavour I'm getting, vibrant green apple. There's nuttiness, herbaceousness, acidity, sweetness, tartness. This is one of the most confusing desserts I have ever had.
We have a gelée of tangerine with tangerine sugar on the outside, followed by a hazelnut buckwheat cookie filled with Meyer lemon cream. Over here, a cake with orange jam and chocolate ganache, a granite of bergamot,
Intense citrus and bitterness to that.
And to finish it with a citrus fruit salad with lemon mandarine.
And for the last bite of today, this wonderful vitamin C compote.
Maybe you're gonna like some tea, sir, or some coffee.
Double espresso, please.
Double espresso?
See the bread sommelier and the tea sommelier.
And one macada have.
Ooh, okay. Andy, I'm excited.
Do you gonna like some digestive, some schnapps?
Honestly, I have no idea why I said yes to digestive. I'm not a fan of brandies, I'm not a fan of liqueurs. No. It's coffee time.
We have some citrus chips for you.
Just when we thought we'd had our final bites of today's meal, they come and bring another trolley. We have more things to eat. I'm not complaining. Lemon, double blood Meyer lemon. I'm not entirely sure which one this is, so for the second time today, we're on our last bite, and this is pomelo slice. They complimented a €75 course. Well, with the complimentary caviar and the multitude of additional wines, the total for tonight came to €450 excluding service. So we have just finished up here in Steirereck, and what an experience it was. Let's start with the dining room. It's modern, it's minimalist, yet it's warm and inviting. From the warm oak wood to the singular light above the table, it provides this beautiful, modern yet intimate space. The dishware, the plateware was beautiful. I love the utilization of the classical French Christoffel cutlery, paired that alongside with this homemade pottery and ceramic plateware. I found out that a lot of the plateware is made by the chef at the sister restaurant to Steirereck. Despite there being over 90 people this evening for dinner, it felt cozy, quiet, intimate, and that is down to the design of the dining rooms and the way they have split it all up into individual fingers. It feels like you have your own space within the restaurant. I do not feel any kind of close proximity to the next table over to me at all. The staff were all formally dressed. Outside of that, there was zero formalities. Yes, there were times where it took slightly longer for my water glass to get filled, empty wine glass to get removed from the table, or empty dishes, but I didn't mind that at all. It had that very laid-back, relaxed feeling to the service, and I really enjoyed that. But the service tonight from Hannah and Christoph, every single time they placed cutlery in front of me, put on a glove in order not to fingerprint the silverware, to the bread, tea and digestif service from Andy, and last but not least, the sommelier Renee. What an incredible combination they were. Not to mention, I took the wine pairing, yet it got to a stage that with every single course, I was starting to get 2 glasses of wine, as Renee became so excited and passionate about sharing his knowledge that he wanted to experience not just 1, but 2 wines for many of the courses. And I really appreciate that. When I got my final bill, I noticed that the caviar supplement course was complimented. Now, onto the food. Tonight was by far the most complex menu I've ever come across. It was complex to the level there were so many individual components used for each course, and oftentimes each individual component was used multiple times across the dish in different textures, in different elements, which I found to be absolutely incredible. My only complaint of this evening was those little menu cards that they gave. While I do appreciate having those there, sometimes it was a little overwhelming to read through it and trying to pinpoint where each flavor profile and where each element lay within the dish. Outside of that, the menu was incredible. It was hands down one of the most complex menus, and I'm so glad that tonight I got introduced to so many wines that I'd never tasted before nor ever heard of. So thank you for that. And as usual, on to the next one. Goodbye.